Hello again, everyone. Scoons Comics here with another exciting, thrilling comic book haul. Yes. First things first, it is football season starting today. My beloved Chicago Bears play tonight against the evil Green Bay Packers. Go Bears. Now then, on to the comic book business. It's been a weird week for comics for me. Very strange. Started out last week. I was out and about running some errands, and I got a Facebook message from a high school buddy of mine, which was odd in itself. But he said that one of the local Goodwills, a specific location, had comic books, and I never find comic books at Goodwill. Never, ever, ever find comic books at Goodwill. And he's showing me pictures. They got them bundled, right? They got them bundled away here, and you can just kind of try to figure out in a little plastic bag. There's like 10 in a bag. What you got there? Cool. What was really funny about this was, as I'm reading this email, I'm in the parking lot of that Goodwill. I do this from time to time. I thinned out the collection of bits just for room. And I was taking several stacks, about 50 comics, to 3 of the area Goodwills. Just because I like to give back to the community. I like the thought of some kid finding a comic book. I give comics all the time, Boys and Girls Club, stuff like that. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I was in the parking lot of that Goodwill, giving them comic books and finding out they had comic books on sale. How crazy is that? So I went in there. And they had a couple books I wanted, which I was thrilled with. On the cheap? Yes, thank you. A lot of it was just dreck. A lot of it was stuff I had no interest in. But they had a few good things. So here we go. We had Superman, Action Comics, 667. Cool Dan Jurgens cover. I loved, as I've said many times, I love Dan Jurgens as Superman. This is a 48-pager, I do believe. And Roger Stern is the writer. Bunch of great artists on this one. Very cool book. Then, as I'm always collecting, my 2 little pet projects I'm always collecting, the Spider Clone saga from the 90s, and all the stuff around Death of Superman. Death of Superman, Funeral for a Friend, that storyline, where we dealt with the tragic death of Superman, the after effects. And Reign of Superman, of the Supermen, when there were 4 imposter Supermen, so hard to say man and men. And then eventually, spoiler alert, Superman comes back from the dead. So there's multiple printings of a lot of these books. I'm trying to find the newsstand editions and the direct market editions that went straight to the comic shops. Always a struggle. But at this random Goodwill, they had the second printing of Adventures of Superman 498. See, there's the second print, Roman numeral right there. This is the direct market edition, so that was cool. And they had the Death of Superman, Superman 75, 4th print, direct market edition. Very cool. Very cool. I was very excited to find these at the Goodwill. Oh, and then there was more Goodwill books. I'm sorry, I forgot I had more. Right? Yes. Okay. Bear with me. Okay. Then we had Amazing Spider-Man 373 newsstand edition. That's cool. Not in the best of shape, but for a very cheap Goodwill price, yeah. Got a Venom story in there. Oh, Venom. Always looking for Amazing Spider-Man. That was cool. And they had more Amazing Spider-Man. These are a little bit more current than the rest of the stuff I was finding, so I thought that was kind of odd. Amazing Spider-Man 428. Comic Shop Edition, direct market. And Amazing Spider-Man 441. Nothing really special about these books that I know. I just like me some Amazing Spider-Man. And then I love this book. I didn't have this reprint, but I enjoy these Marvel Milestone editions. Marvel Milestone Edition reprinting Amazing Spider-Man #1. Marvel did a whole bunch of these in the 90s. They've got something similar now called, what is it, True Facsimiles? I don't know, just reprinting a bunch of classic stories. But here's Amazing Spider-Man #1, complete with like the ads. Very cool. Last but not least at the Goodwill, a book I've been looking for, and this one's kind of roached. been left out in the sun. Like I got the white cover here is kind of baked. But that's okay. I need this book, and I need to get a best. So it's a nice placeholder for me. Web of Spider-Man 125. This is in the newsstand edition. This is part of the whole Spider-Clone saga, but I've been looking for this because the first appearance of the fourth Green Goblin, the Green Goblin that was a hero, Phil Urich. I've been looking for this. Very cool to find this at the local Goodwill. Crazy. But I need a nice copy now because you can see here in the barcode it's all kind of beat up and the colors are messed up and the whites aren't very white anymore. But still, nice placeholder. I'll take it. Then I went back to the antique mall where I found all my goodies last week, where I found my first appearance of Rocketeer, my Captain Victory books, just because the guy told me every Monday he tries to bring out new books. So, of course, I went on Monday. No new books. But that's okay. I dug deeper. There were some books. It's just a big mess of a booth at this antique mall. So there were 4 boxes underneath like this big long table that I hadn't really looked through really carefully. Like I did a quick scan, you know when you're collecting and it's those last boxes and you're tired and you're sweating, your back's hurting, you're digging, you're stretching for the back of the long box. Oh. So I started there and I found a few things that I wanted there. Some good stuff. First of all, I never find these on the cheap. This is only the second issue I have of this book. I loved this cartoon when I was a kid. Dino Riders, #2. Garbage book. It's not very good. I loved the show. I liked it. I saw the book. It made me smile. It was dirt cheap. I picked it up. Cool. This book I've been looking for forever. I love Ghost Rider. I collect all the 90s Ghost Rider stuff. I'm close to having a full run of all that kind of good stuff. But I needed Marvel Midnight Suns Unlimited #9, the last issue of the series. Nothing remarkable about it except it's the last issue. Found it there. Very cool Alex Ross cover here, though. Very cool. But this one, for whatever reason, it's been hard to find. Looking for this for a couple of years. They had it. Hooray! They also had some more Ghost Rider fun. So when Ghost Rider got really popular in the 90s, they launched a whole series of books out of them. They spun a bunch of new books out of them. And they did a 6-part series called Rise the Midnight Suns. And then Midnight Suns became the line for all their horror books, their PG-13 at best horror books. And they all come specially bagged already with a collector's poster, right? So I see these all the time, but I'm thinking they'll become more and more hard to find because they're in a bag. Sometimes the bag gets ripped. People want to read the comic itself. Shocking, people want to read the comic. But when I find these things, I like to pick them up, especially a couple in particular. But they had the first issue of Morbius. You can see here, it's a bag, right? So I've got this bag in a bag. Special collector's issue. All these posters, pimping the rest of the books. Cool. And this is the first time Morbius had his own starring title. He had a series of An Adventure into Fear in the 70s. That was his first solo comic, but this is his own title. So that's cool. And then they had one in the cheap bin that I assume the guy just didn't know he had it. This one's pretty popular right now. Ghost Rider 28. This is the first part of, again, all bagged and pretty. This is the first part of the Midnight Suns crossover, but this is the first appearance of the big bad for that series, Lilith. And there's talk that she will be the big bad of the Ghost Rider series on Hulu. I don't know, she's a cool character. The whole vibe of this has a real supernatural, like the TV show Supernatural kind of vibe to it. Not as fun as that show, but it reminds me of that. So she'd be a cool big bad for this kind of thing. Cool. Last, from the antique mall, I always pick up this book. If I find it, I just like it. Maybe one day other people want it and I can sell a few. I don't know, but right now if I find it cheap, I always pick it up. Ghost Rider and Blaze, Spirits of Vengeance #1. Part of that whole crossover. I love this cover. This is an Adam Kubert cover. He does the art for the first 12 issues of this series. Just cool, because a lot of times I find this and it's already been opened because people want the poster. But But yeah, it's the first spin-off Ghost Rider book, Ghost Rider and Blaze, Spirits of Vengeance. Always like this logo. So, very cool book. Happy to have another copy. Then I went to my local comic shop and just digging through the cheap bins. I bought one new book. Again, I do not buy new books often because they're too dang expensive. I can't spend $4, $5 on a book. That's insane. Ugh. Tangent for another day. But in his quarter bins, he's got it marked anywhere from 25 cents to $2. It's really random, the stuff that he has as $2. Makes no sense. But he had this series from 2018, I think. 17 or 18, I can't remember. They brought back the Spirits of Vengeance title for a 5-issue miniseries, and I did not want to spend $4 a pop when it came out. And I looked at the artwork. I remember when it came out, and I was like, I'll find this in the cheap bin in the next year or so. And sure enough, here they are. Spirits of Vengeance #1. I have not read this whole miniseries yet. I read the first issue. I'm glad I got it from the cheap bin. Just as the completist in me needing something that's called Spirit of Vengeance. So here's issue 1. And issue 2. Third issue, for whatever reason, there was a variant cover. I haven't looked up if this is... I don't know if this is rare. I don't know. But here's Spirits of Vengeance #3. Cool cover, right? It's Ghost Rider on a flaming motorcycle with like a phoenix. That's cool. Spirits of Vengeance #4. And last but not least, #5. So I got the whole miniseries for a couple bucks, I think. Dirt cheap. And a couple other good things in there that I've wanted. They're relaunching the 2099 comics again at Marvel. Marvel's far-flung future, 80 years in the future from now. Was a book series in the 90s. Hit or miss as far as quality. But one of the series I really enjoyed was Spider-Man 2099, and I found the 5th issue, which I do not have. I had like a good run of this, but I gave away or sold, or I don't know. But for some reason, I only have like the first 4 issues. So here's issue 5. Hooray. Then they had the first issue of, which kind of became the joke of the line because this book was not very popular, Ravage 2099 #1, newsstand edition though. The last series ever written by Stan Lee. Was not very popular, but still, cool book to have. Stan Lee's last regular series from Marvel. And last but not least, out of the quarter bin, well, I paid 50 cents, I think, for this. It's Marvel Age 117. Now, we talked about Marvel Age a little bit a video or two ago. I had a Ghost Rider preview in that. Marvel Age, again, is basically just a catalog showing upcoming books. It has a lot of interviews, never any like actual stories in them, just previews. So people always debate, is this the first appearance of a character? Is it a preview? What do we call a first appearance? Is it a true first? I don't know. But there's something wacky in this one. I just picked it up because it was $20.99 and I thought it'd be kind of cool to have. But I was going through this. There's a lot of good stuff in this issue. A lot of good interviews. A lot of good information. But I found, bear with me. Yeah, there's a one-page Marvel 2099 original story that was made specifically for this comic. Okay, now what do we consider this, speculators out there? Is this a true first? I know Spider-Man 2099 appeared in one of the Spider-Man regular books before the launch of this series, but like there's all your principal characters right there at the bottom, and this is basically it's a one-page story, so I don't know. That just a cool little thing. Marvel Age 117. For those people who enjoy 2099 comics, pick this up. And that's all I got this week, people. A lot of good stuff on the cheap this week, as I do. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you all next week. Go Bears!